According to brand new reports that have landed online, we know the exact story and the villains that will be appearing in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. So obviously, I don't think I need to state it, but people will be rather upset if they make it to the end of the video and say, why didn't you warn us about spoilers? There's obvious spoilers in this if this turns out to be true. So if you don't want anything spoiled, click off the video. So what I'm about to talk about is not confirmed. It is an alleged leak, but it's what we got to work with, so that's what we're going to work with. So according to the reports, the game is going to begin with Peter and Miles going after a serial killer that's on the loose. The twist turns out to be that Yuri from the first game turns out to be the serial killer here, and she's essentially become a female version of the Punisher, taking justice into her own hands because the system is failing. Miles and Peter have a slight argument here where they don't agree upon how they're going to approach this whole situation, and we start to see a rift between the partners that's sort of going to separate them for parts of the story and their views on how to handle most situations, because Peter believes Miles should follow in his exact footsteps, and Miles is kind of wanting to do things a little differently and independently. After this, it's where Harry comes back from Europe, and Peter gets the suit in the first act, aka the black suit, the Venom symbiote suit in the first act, and him and Miles are going to re-team up after their little, disagreement, and they are going to go and stop Yuri. This effectively ends the first act of the story and sets up the rest of it. We're going to have Osborn, who hires Kraven the Hunter, obviously to kill Spider-Man. We're going to have Kraven going toe-to-toe with Miles and Peter, and there's going to be a lot of great set pieces that you're involved with and playing with that are taking advantage of the PlayStation 5 hardware. We also see that Peter's being driven mad by the symbiote, and they go do the whole classic bell tower thing to get rid of the suit, and it's during this that Kraven ends up escaping, and as the suit officially gets off of him, it lands on Eddie Brock. Towards the end of the game, we will obviously see the villains teaming up. We're going to have Eddie Brock, who ends up stealing/kidnapping MJ from her mission that she's helping Peter and Miles with. And we're going to see her in peril where the heroes have to come together. Unfortunately, they're going to be also dealing with Norman Osborn, aka the Green Goblin, who is more or less now fully taken on this identity, and he's completely lost his mind. By the end of the game, we're going to have Harry be killed off, and it's due to Norman Osborn. The suit is sort of going to be lost, in quotation marks, and other villains that are going to be appearing are allegedly Mysterio, Big Wheel, Shocker, Sandman, and once again, Screwball. These will be side missions, and Doc Ock will be in the game, but don't expect a lot of, him in the flesh because of how the story ended in the first game. So for those that haven't played it, no spoiler. Now, to further get into a little bit of the gameplay, you will allegedly be playing as Eddie Brock. Unfortunately, he will not be playable as Venom. So it's only Eddie Brock sections where you're doing photography and, sort of doing like the MJ/Peter missions in the first game. And they're going to set up some stuff for the third game by the end that's going to have massive payoffs. So if all this turns out to be true, honestly sounds pretty good. I got nothing against it. Sounds like a pretty solid story, and rumored to be around 30 to 40 hours to complete everything, which, that sounds pretty lengthy and honestly pretty epic.